whether you do waivers or free agency, Sunday morning, hopefully you have a chance to add a player if you need them. I've got Dallas Goedert. He's out. I picked up Dalton Schultz yesterday, but let's say Goddard hadn't been declared out until late last night. And then, I've got one-a-day waivers in my league. So what do? I put a bid on Dalton Schultz. He's the best available, according to me. Who knows? But there's like 18, to 20 tight ends that are being rostered right now in my 14-team league, and so I need one. The mistake I've seen some people make, and this is a podcast episode where there's going to be one seemingly obvious thing and one potentially less obvious thing. The seemingly obvious thing is don't just bid on one tight end if you need a tight end. I've seen that happen where somebody bids, they get outbid, and then sometimes they come to me because I'm the commissioner of the big Premier Fantasy Football League, 150 plus managers, and occasionally, at least once a season, somebody says, "Hey, I didn't get the guy I wanted," so they have to put up a zero at that position. And I'm thinking, no, you always want to bid on a bunch of guys. You can still bid to drop the same player on all those guys, but you can't just put all your eggs in one basket. And so when I bid on Schultz, it was yesterday so that I could get him yesterday and not be concerned. But if it was today, it would be Schultz and then 4 or 5 other tight ends, because you never know also if your opponent is going to try to block you. There might be one obvious player that you're going to pick up. Your opponent might say, I don't want them to get that obvious player, and get him in front of me. So make sure you're doing multiple bids on a position where you really need it. Don't mess around with it. Just get somebody, because you never know if those few points are going to make all the difference. The less obvious thing is that if you have an open spot on your roster, open spot might be, in a shallow league, a second tight end that you just don't need. Although clearly I did this week. Or it might be a second quarterback if that quarterback is not someone that others are going to, scramble to pick up. You might find that you have that extra bench spot. My strong advice is to look ahead to Thursday's games, see who the running backs are in those games, who the backups are, and then check your waivers and see, especially in shallower leagues, if one of those backups is available. And then go ahead and put a bid on and try to get one. Simple reason is that concussions are a thing. I think over the past few years, it's been about 200 concussions a season. So, you do the math, it's about 6 or so per week. Statistically, they affect a certain number of running backs. I don't have that data in front of me, but running backs. And if you get a concussion on Sunday and you're in the protocol, you're not going to be cleared pretty much by Thursday if you're playing on Thursday. It's just that's generally not a thing anymore for all the right reasons. And there's other injuries. There's day-to-day injuries that might develop that are not necessarily concussion protocol, but they might be held out on Thursday. So if if you're picking up a backup who's playing the following Sunday, there is less chance that they're going to be the starter than if you pick up a backup who's playing on Thursday. So Thursday games, I've mentioned this before in the podcast, not this specific topic, but who's playing next Thursday. So you always want to see who's playing next Thursday, because it might impact how the starters are used on Sunday. It's Miami and Buffalo. It's James Cook for Buffalo. It's Devon Achane for Miami. Jalen Wright is still out. And so Ollie Gordon seems like the backup for Achane for now. I would always say Ray Davis, since last year, Ray Davis backing up James Cook. It's not as obvious anymore. Could be the, journeyman Ty Johnson. At the very least, Ty Johnson might be more useful because he's more proven and he's pretty good in the passing game, receiving game. And, you could probably get 8+ points out of him if he's thrust into that, joint starting role with Ray Davis, who is seemingly talented, but also less tested and hasn't actually stepped up when given the opportunity. So if I'm in your shoes, and I might be in my shoes doing this, this morning, I'm still, weighing this because, I don't have a lot of wiggle room right now with my bench, unfortunately, with Goddard hurt. I've got 2 quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. It's a long story. I think you've heard it before, but, I don't have a lot of guys I can drop right now. But if I did have a guy I could drop, I could drop now that I'm thinking about it? Miles Sanders. I could drop Miles Sanders. Thank you. Thanks, everyone, for letting me talk that through. I'm holding Miles Sanders just in case Javonte Williams falls flat, because those 2 touchdowns were great last week, but his inefficiency is remarkable since he had the season-ending injury, 3 years ago. Jaden Blue doesn't seem ready yet. And so I'm holding on to Miles Sanders just in the off chance that maybe he could step up, not fumble, and be some semblance of what he was 3 years ago. But in the meantime, if I didn't have Miles Sanders and I had more courage to do what I am suggesting you do, then I would drop someone who I don't need anymore and pick up either Ollie Gordon or Ty Johnson. For the simple fact that of all of the running backs that might get hurt, the ones that are most at risk, if they get hurt, if not playing on Thursday, are the starters on those 2 teams. That's where you need to target every week. Go ahead. I've already done it. Look up every single Thursday team from now to the end. Except the week after Thanksgiving, I think Dallas and Detroit play again, so it doesn't really apply there because it's Thursday to Thursday, but you get the idea. Note it, note who the starting running backs are, and just be prepared that Sunday, if you have an open spot, grab the handcuff if they're available. I'm BJ Riddell, Fantasy Football for Winners. Follow me on the blog. Email me anytime. I will always email back. Good luck today. See you tomorrow.